In 1992, a young girl peeked out her window and saw her terminally ill brother's toy boat floating in their backyard pool. She went to retrieve the toy boat, but an unknown force suddenly pulled her into the water. The young girl struggled underwater when she noticed a woman crouching down by the pool, reaching out to her. The young girl swam up to reach for the woman's hand, but when she resurfaced, the woman was gone. She then tried to get the toy boat again, and just as she finally got it, something pulled her down. The young girl tried to scream for help, but she was underwater. After a moment, the struggling had stopped and the young girl was nowhere in sight. In the present day, the Waller family was led inside a home. After Ray, the father, fell ill, he was forced to retire from his baseball career. The family then decided to find a new residence where they could permanently live. And here they are now house hunting. After checking the house, the Waller family didn't particularly like the house, so they decided to leave for now. Eve was driving through a neighborhood when Ray suddenly told Eve to stop the car before pointing at a for-sale house. They checked it out and Ray was happy to see that there was a backyard pool because he always wanted to have one. Ray and Eve checked the pool for a while before Eve suggested getting back inside the house. But Ray saw a baseball and bent down to reach it. But he fell into the crowd, and while he was under, he suddenly remembered a time when he was still playing baseball. Their son, Elliot, found his father first and screamed for help. Eve and their daughter, Izzy, followed, helping Ray out of the pool. Eve brought Ray to the hospital, and the doctors suggested Ray look for a low-impact activity he can do every day like yoga or swimming, lest he get another episode again. While leaving the hospital, Ray told Eve that he wanted to buy the house with the backyard people because not only did he like it, he could also have swim therapy. Eve expressed her happiness that they are finally going to settle down in a permanent residence, unlike when Ray's baseball career was still thriving and they always had to move. The Waller family had finally decided and they moved as soon as possible to their new home. Eve had a new job, and both Izzy and Elliot had also moved to another school. This time around, they don't have to worry about how little time they might spend at their new job and school. After moving back home, the Waller family then cleaned up the pool together. Izzy told her parents that a guy recruited her for the swim team and she decided to join. Ray expressed how proud he is of her while he reached down the drain to clean it. But something in the drain cut Ray's hand and he yelled as he pulled his hand out. Eve and their children got worried and approached Ray, and that's when black liquid started leaking out of the drain. They called maintenance to inspect the pool, and it was revealed that the pool was actually a spring pool as it was taking its water from an underground spring in the area. The pool is essentially self-sustaining, like natural filtration, geothermal heating, and all that. Later that night, Ray was unboxing their stuff while Eve was busy filling out a form. Eve went for a night swim afterward and noticed that their pet cat seemed to be acting strange. It seems to be agitated, but Eve didn't see anything that might trigger it and decided to just ignore it, assuming the cat was just unfamiliar with the new place. Eve continued swimming until she saw a man standing by the pool. She was startled but laughed it off, thinking that it was just Ray. But when she had a clear look and saw no one there, she was creeped out. Then the pool lights started flickering and Eve decided to leave the pool and go back in. She checked on her children and went back to her room where she found Ray sleeping. Feeling her presence, Ray woke up and Eve asked him if he went outside while she was in the pool, but Ray answered no. Meanwhile, the family cat was laying on the diving platform when the same toy boat from the start of the movie surfaced from the water, capturing the cat's attention. The pool lights started flickering again, and the next day, the cat was gone, leaving only its collar floating in the pool. The Waller family saw it and thought that the cat fell into the water and got scared. While the others looked for the cat, Ray reached down and retrieved the collar from the pool using his injured hand. He went to check the bandage and was confused when he realized that the wound wasn't there anymore and his sand was completely healed. That night, Eve woke up to a nightmare of the pool being covered up while she was underwater. She jumped awake and saw that Ray was swimming. The next day, Ray went to therapy and the doctor was shocked upon checking him. In such a short span of time, Ray dramatically improved and the couple thought that it might have been because of the water therapy, which made Ray happier, realizing that the pool was helping in healing him. Since then, Ray has become a lot more chirpy and he has become more dedicated to his water therapy. One day, Elliot invited his father to go swimming with him. Ray drew a smiley face on a coin and asked Elliot to toss it in the pool for him once he was done cleaning up. So Elliot waited for his dad in the pool. He was sitting underwater when he noticed a coin being tossed into the pool. He resurfaced thinking that his dad was already there but saw no one. A confused Elliot put on his goggles and looked for the coin underwater. But more coins got tossed and one of them lay on top of the drain. Elliot heard a voice calling out and looked up to see a girl watching him. He resurfaced to talk to the girl but didn't see her anymore. Elliot was starting to get scared, but he just told himself that it was just Izzy trying to scare him. He continued swimming and stopped under the diving platform where he heard a thud. An angle from underneath the water showed that someone was standing on top of the platform, but when Elliot climbed up to see, no one was there. Elliot heard a young girl's voice from the skimmer plate. The young girl introduced herself as Rebecca, and as Elliot grabbed her toy from inside the skimmer plate, a hand grabbed his arm and started pulling him. Elliot screamed in fear when he noticed a silhouette from inside the skimmer plate and went to tell his mom. Eve went to check but didn't see anyone or anything suspicious, and when she told Ray about it, the latter told her that Elliot might have just been pretending because he was having a hard time finding some friends. The Waller family went to the school with Elliot to show support for his baseball training. Ray was there to help guide the students, and when the team coach urged her to hit the ball just once, Ray agreed. But his sickness was getting in the way and he failed, falling to the ground. He tried once more and successfully hit the ball, sending it flying so far away with the amount of strength he had managed to put into hitting it. But instead of being happy, Eve and their children were just confused and surprised. Night came, and Ray and Eve left their children alone at home for a while. Izzy warned Elliot not to rat on her and invited a schoolmate and swim teammate, Ronan, over. Ronan challenged Izzy to look for him in the pool with her eyes closed. Izzy accepted the challenge, but something pulled her down, and when she opened her eyes, she realized that she was oddly too deep into the water, that she could barely see the surface of the pool. She immediately got out of the water, was utterly confused, and crept out when Ronan told her that he wasn't the one who pulled her. Ronan comforted her, reassuring her that her leg must have just caught or something and that nothing was down there. On Saturday, Elliot knocked on Izzy's door and asked her if she saw something in the pool. But Izzy denied it, as she didn't want anything to happen that might compel them to move again. Elliot shared his idea that the pool might be helping and haunting them at the same time. A pool party was held, and Elliot set up a camcorder to capture everything that happened in the pool. After what happened to him and the sudden improvement in his father's health, he became suspicious. It was the same for Eve, who was now starting to get worried every now and then because of the pool. So Eve asked their realtor about the pool, and the realtor told her about a story about the backyard pool she recently heard. The people who used to live in the house before never felt comfortable using the pool because a young girl drowned in it years ago. Eve asked if the girl's name was Rebecca, and when the realtor confirmed it, something happened. Ray, who had a kid perched on his shoulders, was playing in the pool when a black liquid came out of the drain and entered his mouth. It possessed Ray, and he attempted to drown the kid on his shoulder. Elliot saw it and immediately called for his mom. Fortunately, the kid's parents didn't press charges, and despite being upset, they understood that Ray must have had another episode while playing in the pool. After that event, Ray also started gasping for air and coughing out black liquid, so Eve decided to let him rest for a while. The whole family was now weary because of the people. Eve did her own research about the pool and found out that there had been a long history of disappearances in the house. She tracked down Kay, Rebecca's mother, and asked her what really happened to the young girl before she supposedly drowned in the pool. Kay then told her the story of how the pool was once part of a healing spring, but the spring wanted something in return for the healing it gives people. Someone had to pay so the water could keep flowing. In order to heal a person, another must be sacrificed. It was revealed that Kay sacrificed her own daughter to save her terminally ill son. Suddenly, Kay started coughing violently. Eve saw the black liquid leaking out of Kay and into the small fountain. Meanwhile, Ray was taking a bath when he began choking, with black veins popping out before he stood still with his eyes dilating. Elliot heard the meow of a cat and went to the pool, which was mysteriously filled with water again. He checked the inflatable flamingo float, but he fell into the pool and the pool cover started closing on its own. Izzy ran to stop the cover from closing but was unable to stop it. With the help of Eve, who had just arrived, they prevented the pool from closing. Izzy ran to get help while Eve looked for Elliot underwater, but she couldn't find him anywhere, and that's when she found a dark spot. She secured herself and swam into the dark. She found Elliot in the deepest part and attempted to pull him out of the water. But all the people who had been sacrificed to the healing spring kept on pulling them back. Eve struggled against them and broke free, but due to the darkness, she couldn't find her way out anymore. Then Rebecca appeared with Elliot's smiling coin in her hand. She let go of it, and Eve realized that instead of swimming up, she had been swimming down instead. Eve finally saw the moonlight and took her son out of the water. Say pumped on Elliot's chest, trying to save him. Izzy, on the other hand, got injured when she slipped on a puddle of water and accidentally palmed the shards of glass on the floor. She then heard a strange sound and looked for her father, only to find him possessed. Ray chased Izzy down, wanting to sacrifice her to the spring, but Izzy fought back and hid. When he noticed Eve and Elliot, he went out and attacked Eve. Unbeknownst to him, Izzy was already standing behind him with a bat. She hit him, which caused him to drop to the ground, and with Eve's comforting whispers, Ray finally got back to himself. Elliot had also woken up, so the family prepared to leave as soon as possible, but Ray noticed the black liquid spreading in the pool and he knew that someone had to pay for the ghosts of the healing spring to stop haunting them. Ray made up his mind and swam towards the black liquid, sacrificing himself. Despite the tragedy that occurred, Eve and her children decided to stay in the house so that no one else could fall victim to the spring. Eve, Izzy, and Elliot also decided to get the pool filled in to prevent the spring from haunting them again.